I'm John Chrismo, and it is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live into your homes, into your phones, your tablets, whatever it is you're watching us on, to help you mastermind and grow your real estate business, to take it to the next level, even if that next level is really just the first level, or maybe that next level is taking it from 100,000 to 200,000 to 500,000 to a million to whatever it may be. You're all going to be able to find little nuggets of information you're going to be able to implement in your business. And today we've got a topic that I'm super excited about because this is something that's tried and true in real estate that works, but only when it's done correctly. So we're talking about now developing a farming strategy that works. Any farming will probably eventually work, but we're going to talk about the things that stop a lot of agents, that keep agents from getting results on their farming efforts. So we've got a great show for you today. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, what is going on, and welcome to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to take your real estate business to the next level, to mastermind, to use this as your office sales meeting, whatever it is that you want to do. We've got a lot of great information that I'm excited to share with you guys today. And if you haven't subscribed to us yet, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't liked the Facebook page, like the Facebook page. If you haven't put your email in on our Success Center at tampaschool.com/success, put your email in there. That's the best place to go out of any one of those, tampaschool.com/success. Drop your email in there. We're always putting up articles that are going to help your real estate business. We've got all these great videos that'll help take your real estate business to the next level. So a lot of really exciting resources available in there. So make sure you've got your email loaded in there, or just go ahead and peruse some of the stuff that's available on our Success Center. But what we're talking about today is something we've talked about before, but something that is very important, which is why we're going to talk about it again, and it's real estate farming. So real estate farming, and when we say farming, we're not talking in particular about growing some sort of crops, although you could look at them as crops. You could call your clients and your future clients crops. That's kind of this whole analogy it is we're going to be making today. We're not talking about playing some sort of app, some Farmville or whatever type of farming apps that are out there that are apparently pretty popular too. We're talking about good old-fashioned real estate farming, which is actually used in a lot of businesses, and really you could kind of just overall categorize this and generalize this as marketing. This is basically all it is that you're doing. You're just marketing, but you're doing it in a very specific and intentional way that's really going to help take your real estate business to the next level. Now, a couple of things that I want to point out about farming, because there's a lot of common mistakes that agents make when they're farming. So I want to go ahead and get into that first. This is actually originally posted by me on our Success Center as an article of our 7 deadly mistakes of real estate farming. So if you haven't read that yet, it talks about each one of these in more detail on there. And again, that's tampaschool.com/success. So our first mistake, because I know we've got a lot of experienced agents on there, maybe we've got a lot of new agents that are watching this video right now that they're doing farming, or they're thinking about doing a farming strategy. These are the things you absolutely need to keep in mind, because these are the biggest things that I've seen with new agents and experienced agents where they're making mistakes with their farming. So number one is having a farm area that's too large. Number one rule, don't have a farm area that's more than you can handle. Don't bite off more than you can chew. That cliche expression. Because essentially what's going on is, so let's say you pick a farm area of 10,000 homes. There's 10,000 homes in the area that you're selecting as your farm area. So let's say that we're going to send out a piece of mail to these 10,000 homes. And there's a lot of different ways to advertise this here, but this one's got a fixed cost, which is pretty easy to calculate. It's about 50 cents for a stamp. And then on top of that, you've got another about at least 50 cents for whatever that stamp is being attached to. So probably even a lot more than that. So what you've got there is it costs $1. So you've got $1 per marketing piece, which is an expensive marketing piece, but mailings do work when they're done correctly. So you've got this dollar marketing piece, and now you've got 10,000 people picked out that you want, 10,000 homes, which really has even more people living in each one of those homes. You've got 10,000 homes that you want to send that to. That's $10,000. And you'll probably say, oh, John, I'm going to send out this one letter, and then I'm going to get a deal, and then that deal will pay for the next letter I'm going to send out. That could happen, but don't get your hopes up. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you've got such a great marketing piece, and when you're hitting 10,000 homes, you get a little bit more likelihood that you're going to strike gold instantly. But think of all the junk mail it is that you get. Or we could talk about any sort of advertising strategy, whether it's digital advertising, billboard advertising, whatever it may be. They all have their pros and cons, and they all have to be done a certain way to be done effectively. But one of the key things is repetition. When you choose a farm area that's too large, you're choosing an area that's too large, you can't have that necessary repetition for them to, when they're ready to buy or sell a home, because they might get your letter or postcard or whatever it is that they're sending them. They look at it, they're like, okay, cool, yeah, we're actually thinking about selling our home, but no, we're not ready to do it now. So they'll just toss it. And if they're already looking at this and say, oh, look, another realtor sending me stuff about wanting to sell their home, because there's probably other people that are farming your area too. It's you got to be there first, and you have to be there the most consistent. You have to have the repetitions. You got to get in there early, and you got to have the repeated repetitions going in there. Is there a chance that you're going to strike gold right away, that there's going to be somebody that instantly wants to do business with you? Absolutely, there's that chance, but don't expect that. Don't have that expectation that you're going to send out this first piece of mailing. If you're relying on, okay, I've got a $10,000 budget, let me go ahead and send out a mailing, I'll get a deal off of that, and then I'll be able to pay for the next mailing, you're not going to be able to pay for that next mailing, because even if you do get some contacts off of that $10,000, maybe those contacts aren't going to result in a contract. Those contacts might just be like, oh, you know what, actually, we decided we don't want to buy. So the repetition is key. And yes, it's not ideal to have to choose a smaller market. Ideally, you want to be able to choose that 10,000 people, but at the same time, you want to be able to market them every single month. At the very least, at least once a month, if not even a higher interval than that, but at least once a month, especially if this is a hot area. We're going to talk about choosing your farm area as well in a little bit, but you want to be able to have the repetitions to them. You guys might have heard me say this before, but it takes 7 to 9 times. 7 to 9 times, and that's not me making up these numbers. These are, I think it was a study out of Harvard somewhere. Some learned people came up with this number that says, okay, it takes 7 to 9 times, and that's what companies like Coca-Cola, like Apple, and these major brand names that are leaders of their industry as far as branding goes, they understand that, and that's why they have their logos everywhere. That's why there's always iPhone, Apple logos everywhere it is that you see one of these computers. And it's a very simple principle of branding. The more you see something, the more likely you are to remember it. But the key thing, and that's what the 7 to 9 number is very handy for, is it takes 7 to 9 times to create that impression in somebody's head. So what that means to you is when you're sending out these postcards, these mailers, maybe you're doing Facebook ads, maybe you're doing a combination of these efforts. We're going to talk about that as well. But when you're just doing these one-off kind of, okay, let me hit this area. No, nothing. Okay, that must not be a good area. Let me hit this area over here. No, that's not a good area. Let me do that. It's not that was a bad area. It's that you have to have the repetitions. Because again, they're going to see that letter. They might see that postcard, whatever it is that you're sending them. They're going to see that and they're going to say, oh, yeah, another realtor, and maybe just toss it. Or, oh, look, this guy's a realtor. Oh, that's neat. I'll set this here in my pile of stuff that I keep. And you get lost in that pile of their junk for the most part. But then when they go to try to think of you, it's like, oh, I do want to sell my house. I've been wanting to do that for a while now. You have to constantly say, hey, look, I could sell your house. I could sell your house. I could sell your house. That's the moral of the theme of what's coming across here. But we'll talk about some ways of how to market this so it's not just kind of in your face and you're actually showing some value, which is going to make this even more effective, maybe push you down from that 9 times down to 7 times to create the memory. But that's mistake number 1. You do not want to have too large of a farm area. You choose a farm area that's too large, and what makes it too large? Because maybe 10,000 is too small for certain real estate agents. If they've got 10,000 over 10,000 to spend a month, if they've got $50,000 to spend a month in marketing, then they're going to want a lot bigger farm area than just those 10,000 people. But you want to choose one that fits for your size, and especially if you're a new agent, I mean, you might be ended up just picking 1,000 people, or even if 1,000 is too much, start with 100 people. Start with 100 people, get really ingrained with those 100. So we'll go and take this back to the analogy of this word farming, like what a farmer does. So what a farmer can do, if a farmer's brand new to farming, maybe they somehow have the means to get all of this land that they could farm on. In real estate, it's a lot easier because you just choose the area it is that you want to farm. But let's say this farmer's got 10 acres worth of land, and they go through and they're just like throwing seeds out on all these 10 acres. They don't know how it is that they're supposed to put the seeds out there. Or maybe they saw some videos online that says, oh, put the seeds in this way. But that farmer has no idea whether that's actually an efficient way to plant seeds. So it doesn't make sense for that farmer to go invest all their money in these seeds, to go throw them all out there, hope that they work, hope that they grow into a plant, only to find out, oh, that's right, I forgot, you have to water these seeds, or I was supposed to use this type of fertilizer instead of that type of fertilizer, and then all of a sudden the crop is gone. And if that farmer bet everything on that one crop, that farmer's now out of business. The same thing could happen to you, where you'll run out of marketing capital. If you choose a farm area that's too big, you should be able to plan out and budget out accordingly for at least 12 months of farming to a particular area. So if you're only choosing 100 people, and you're planning to do about $1 per cost, let's just say, to keep it simple. So you're planning on spending about $100 a month. If you're planning on doing that for 12 months, that's $1,200. Can you commit to that $1,200 now and not counting on any additional money coming in for that point? Because remember, the 7 to 9 times, it's going to take 7 to 9 times for them to even start to remember who it is that you are. So moral of the story here, pick a farm area that's within reason, that's within your budget. Try to aggressively grow that farm area when you have the means to do so. But the repetition is so much more important. It's really about the number of touches, the quantity of the touches, the quantity of the impressions, the quantity of them getting your postcards. But it's those same people, because you want to get to them 7 to 9 times. So that's the number one mistake I see a lot of agents make, is they choose a farm area that's way too big. They try it out. They don't get any results after that first marketing effort, that first postcard, that first digital ad, whatever it is that they're doing. They don't get results, and they say, oh, this doesn't work, and they throw in the towel and then move on to try to figure out some other way to generate money. Farming works, but it has to be done correctly. And there's no one size fits all. It depends on the market it is that you're marketing to, and that's why even when you hear great farming strategies, you still want to test these in your market. You test them to see if it works and see if, okay, maybe that works with 100 people. Okay, the next one, let's now bump it up to 1,000 people because we're willing to invest a little bit more money on that, especially if you get a deal. Let's say you send out those 100 letters and all of a sudden you've got a contract, a contact, the results in a contract, you can get a closing, and now all of a sudden you've got 10 grand. And okay, let's take that money and now let's reinvest it. But again, try to reinvest it and spread it out, amortize it out across all of your future mailings. So that way, okay, rather than, okay, I could go from 100 people now up to 10,000 people, that could work. But you're taking a bigger risk there. If you want a little bit more sure, safer way that that's going to work, okay, let's go from 100 people to, let's say, maybe 1,000 people, and I can now budget out for 1,000 people over the next 12 months. Get another closing, okay, bump that up again, and then bump it up again, and continue to do that as you grow your farm area. But when you're starting your farming strategy, don't pick a farm area that's too large. You want to be able to account for marketing to them for at least 12 months out. We've got a lot of other farming mistakes we're going to be talking about today. So if you guys have questions about any of this stuff, or you have any tips to share with any new agents, or maybe new agents have some tips for the experienced agents, maybe the millennials for the older people, or the older people for the millennials, whatever types of tips you guys got, snide remarks, comments, put those in the live chat here. Questions as well. Love to give you a shout out here on the air. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be back in less than 2 minutes. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrismo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have done for my love.
If you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Carismo, and every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, I myself, on behalf of the Tampa School of Real Estate, come to you live to talk about how we can take your real estate business to the next level, even if we're talking about just getting it to that first level, because this is applicable across the board, especially what we're talking about today, real estate farming. And we're going through these mistakes it is that you don't want to make when you're farming. Farming is a tried and true strategy that will work if it's done correctly. So we talked about the first mistake of don't picking a farm area that's too large. You want to be able to have repetition. It's not about how many people, it's about how many times you could contact those same people, that you can get in front of those same people for farming to work. That's the number one rule of farming. It's about repetition, not necessarily about how many people it is that you could reach. It's about the number of times you're reaching them. Now, mistake number two, and again, I'm pulling this off of our article on our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success. If you haven't checked that out yet, make sure you check it out. It's tampaschool.com/success. So farming mistake number two is picking the wrong farm area. Now, how can a farming area be wrong? Now, in theory, all farming areas can be a good farming area. There's just some farming areas that are a lot better than other farming areas. So a couple of the factors you want to keep in mind when you're trying to choose a farming area. Number one is, and this is really the overlying theme, what you should be doing is you should go in the MLS, and then just do a search in the MLS of just sold listings, finding the listings that sold. And you could take a very visual approach to this at first. Just pull up that map, search for sold listings, look at the map, and try to find those clusters of all the little red houses showing all the sold listings. That's what you're looking for. You want to try to find those neighborhoods that are the hot neighborhoods that have a lot of sales going on. And there's a lot of other ways you can kind of pull this up in the MLS to kind of do a little bit more comprehensive report, because what you have to also take in mind too is the density of these housing. Sometimes it's just the houses are spread a lot further apart, so the red dots won't seem as close together. So what you want to try to find is the turnover rate of a neighborhood. And especially when you've drilled down to just a single neighborhood, and maybe we're talking about 100, 1,000, maybe 2,000 or something like that, anything along those lines, maybe even if it's larger, what you want to do is try to find first the number of homes in that neighborhood. And how you could find that number of homes in the neighborhood, if in your MLS, there's also usually a public record system. If you're in the Tampa area and the MFR, the Mid-Florida Regional MLS, you'll have access to an app called Realist. There's also one in there called IMAP, which I think does the same thing. But you'll have some sort of public records app in there where you'll be able to type in the name of a subdivision, whatever neighborhood it is that you're trying to target, or however it is that you've lined up this particular area that you want to farm and market to. So you choose that area in there, you're able to find how many homes are available in that neighborhood. Then what you also want to find, this is back in the MLS, you find how many homes have sold within the last year. So you go back to a search for the last 12 months, last 365 days, how many homes sold. So what you're going to do then, take the number of homes sold divided by the number of homes in the neighborhood. When you take the number of homes sold and divide that by the number of homes in the neighborhood, that's going to be able to give you your percentage. It's going to be something like hopefully 0.10 or higher, 10% or higher. That's what you're going to be wanting to look for. If you've got something 7, 8%, and this is going to depend on your market. Now, just because you've got an area it is that you like, that doesn't necessarily make it a good farm area. Especially when you're first getting into farming, when you're first dipping your feet in the farming waters, or into the soil, I guess would be the better analogy for that. Let's say you're first getting into this farming soil of saying, okay, I want to do real estate farming because I don't want to have to go to clients, I want clients to come to me. Farming with enough money and enough time, that's when is going to be what's happening. You're going to have people lining up to work with you rather than you having to go out to go find them and convince them to work with you. So it's that reversal there that makes it appealing to a lot of new agents. So again, you're finding the farm area, and what you want to do, again, choose an area that's got a lot of sales. My rule of thumb, look for 10% or higher turnover rate. If at least 10% of the homes in the neighborhood are selling, that's probably a pretty good neighborhood. If it's less than that, it's going to be hard to market because maybe people don't want to sell in that neighborhood. So when you're trying to gain sellers out of farming, that's not going to do much good. If you find buyers in there, and which you're less likely to find because marketing to this area, yes, you may be finding buyers and sellers, but you're talking to those same people. So if they're ordered to buy, they probably want to sell. And if there's not a lot of sales going on, it's not usually the best return on investment. Like I said, it could work because farming, it's very easy for it to pay for itself. You take a commission of 10 grand, and if you've invested 2 or 3, even $7,000 or $8,000 into farming in this area, you're still coming out on top if you're netting 10 grand off of that. So it's easy to make this work when it's done correctly, but wouldn't it be a lot better to get 20 or 30 grand on an investment of 5 or 6 grand rather than just 10 grand off of an investment of 5 or 6 grand? So that's what I'm telling you guys about here. You want to find the neighborhoods where there's a lot of turnover going on, when there's a lot of sales. You want to have at least 10% of the homes in that neighborhood selling within the last 12 months. So you should be, again, running the report for how many homes sold, running a report how many homes are located in the neighborhood, and then once you've gone through and done that, you could divide those together. Number of homes that have sold divided by the number of homes in the neighborhood. If that number is over 0.10, over 10%, we're in good shape there. If it's less than that, and this depends on your market. Now in the Tampa Bay area, it should definitely be higher than 10%. Look for as high as you could go, really. Those are your best areas to market. But that's only one thing to consider here. And in some markets, it might be lower than that. You might not have any 10% markets in your neighborhoods in your particular market. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. But that's a good number to kind of keep in mind as your baseline. And when you don't have any neighborhoods over 10%, your market's probably a little bit slower, which is okay. You can still be money to be made, but it's just going to be a little bit more expensive. And again, that's another thing you want to factor in. A lot of this thinking, that gives you what's called foresight. When you have foresight, that helps you avoid making mistakes. That's why you guys are here watching this, tuning in today, is to get some foresight into farming. So, okay, you know stuff about farming, so that way you're not going forward and making these mistakes with farming. So again, like I said, make sure you're picking an area that's not too large, and then also make sure you're picking a neighborhood where there's a lot of turnover going on. But now at the same time, for not picking the right neighborhood, you don't want to pick a neighborhood that there's already somebody farming. And now the way you could do this to tell somebody's farming a neighborhood well is if there's multiple homes listed by that same person in the neighborhood. So that's another thing the MLS is going to be able to tell you. You log into the MLS, you're able to click on each individual listing. When you click on each individual listing, you can see who the listing agent is, or even just who the listing office is. If you see a lot of them in the same neighborhood from the same office, even if it's different agents, that might just be the office doing a lot of farming in that area. So that's a real quick and easy way to see, okay, is there another agent already dominating this market, dominating this neighborhood? If they are, so let's say you've got 2 10% turnover neighborhoods, one, almost all the listings are from one agent, and the other, it's a bunch of different agents. The one with a bunch of different agents is going to be your better bet because there's not somebody dominating farming. When there's a bunch of listings, anytime there's more than one listing by the same person in the neighborhood, especially if we're dealing with a neighborhood of less than 1,000 homes, that's where like, okay, now this person, they're doing some work here. The more of those listings that you see that are marketed by that person, it's not to say that you can't go up there, head up against them, but you're now heading into red, bloody waters where you're going to have to fight this person for deals. Versus where you could go into there where people either aren't farming or they're not farming effectively. You go in there, and especially if it's the same turnover rate, that makes that neighborhood a lot better because they call that a blue ocean. They call that this is open pastures. This is you're not really competing with other people, and the people you are competing with, they're not farming effectively. So it'll be really easy to win out over those other agents there. Versus again where somebody's dominating a neighborhood. So pull up those listings in the neighborhood and see who those listing agents are. You can pull up those line-by-line reports in the MLS, and they're really quick and easy for this here. You could sort right by the listing agent's name and just sort it by the listing agent's name and try to find the ones where there's multiple listings that were either sold or active or pending or even the withdrawals. You want to get a picture of everything in that neighborhood by the same agent, because if that's the case, or even by the same office, that means you've got some competition in the neighborhood. Still could be a good one to market in, but let's find the better neighborhoods first. So that's farming mistake number 2, picking the wrong farm area. Our third farming mistake is not diversifying your strategy. So everything I've talked about so far, in more detail at least, has been the letters, the postcards, these kind of print mailer type of things, which that's a great way to farm, but it's not the only way to farm. So again, we'll take our farmer analogy here. Imagine that we're some sort of farmer actually growing crops and trying to cultivate some sort of vegetable or fruit or whatever that may be. A lot of times you do see farmers that only grow one type of crop. But so any of the Floridians watching this, you might know about kind of how the citrus industry has been kind of on a decline in Florida. And the reason why, one of the big reasons, is there's some sort of algae or moss or pest or something that's affecting the citrus trees, causing the citrus trees to die. If anyone watching knows what that thing is that's affecting the citrus trees, put it in the comments, because I can't pull that name out of whatever it is that's affecting the citrus trees. But let's say you're now a citrus farmer and you only grew oranges, and all of a sudden there's some sort of plague affecting all the oranges. That's bad for you. That's the equivalent of your real estate farm area if you're only sending out letters and only sending postcards or only doing one type of marketing for that particular area. You don't want to do just one type of marketing. You want to dominate that area with every type of marketing that's available. We're going to talk more about that, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay with us. We're going to be back in less than 2 minutes. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrismo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have been for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrisman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. What we're talking about today, what we do every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, is taking your real estate business to the next level by giving you little actionable nuggets of information. What we're talking about today is real estate farming and the mistakes it is that you don't want to make so your real estate farming is effective, so it actually creates a return on your investment. And really, almost any farming is better than no farming, but just like I said there, almost any farming is better than no farming. You don't want to give up on your farm area. You want to stick with it because any farming strategy will work eventually. And it's just a matter of, okay, when you get those numbers to line up correctly. So these mistakes we're talking about today are going to help you make sure that you're farming in a way that's going to give you the highest return on your investment. So we talked about the first 3 mistakes so far. Number 1, we've got too large of a farm area. Number 2, picking the wrong farming area. Number 3, not diversifying your strategy. So when I say not diversifying your strategy, I mean not just sending mailers, not just advertising on Facebook, not just doing any sort of basic advertising of one particular type. If you really want to dominate your area and you really want to be the go-to, then you're going to have to diversify your strategy. Don't rely just on mailers. Because there's going to be certain people that you're sending mailers to that really don't look at their mailer, that throw out anything that doesn't say it's from the government or anything crazy like that. So let's talk about some of the ways we could diversify the strategy. Are you getting issues over there on your end?
No.
It's just not loading here. All right, so we're probably still good here. Let me know in the comments if you guys are having any issues with the streams here loading at all. So a couple different ways you can diversify your strategy. Again, doing the print mailers. So that's one method. And like I said earlier, you don't want to just disregard that because you know it's old school, it's the old method. Who wants to send out print mailers? That's more expensive than how I could advertise online. The print mailers do work. They just don't work for everyone. But they still can be very effective, especially when you're doing them correctly. So print mailers is one way to go about this. Another method you could use to advertise is digital advertising. And then there's several ways to advertise digitally. It could be Facebook ads that you're running. It could be Google ads that you're running. It could be YouTube ads that you're running. It could be display ads. It could be anything with this. And what's great about the digital advertising is because it'll actually let you pinpoint a particular area. Say, okay, you go on the map, you drop the pin here, and you say you want to market within 100 feet of here, within 1,000 feet of here, or within 1 mile of here, or whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe you put in a particular zip code, and that's a huge farm area, so that's probably not what you're going to want to do unless you have a tightly packed kind of layout of zip codes in your neighborhood. So you'll put in there, and then what you're able to do, because the key thing with this is you got to stay on top of these people. Multiple impressions. Repetition is the answer to an effective farming strategy. That's the number one thing that I would say. If I could really condense this down to something quick and easy when you're doing real estate farming, the quick and easy way that I could really, like I said, break this down would be, okay, number one, you got to stay on them. You got to continue with the farming area. Don't give it up. Pick a certain area that you want to market to and then stick with that. That's really the most important thing, and don't just rely on one key type of advertising. It's great if you get a great return on investment from Facebook advertising, and maybe that's where a majority of your ad spending is going, is towards the Facebook advertising. But don't forget about those other forums that are going to help support your Facebook advertising. So that way, when they see your face, your name, your logo, whatever it is, pop up in their newsfeed or pop up on a display ad on some random website or however it is, that they remember when they see that letter in front of them, they're making all these connections together. And the more you could kind of draw these connections together in their brain, the more it is that they're going to remember you, and the more it is that you're the one that they're going to call when they want to sell their house. So make sure you're diversifying your strategy. Go across as many different mediums as you can, and again, really try everything. Try the mailers, try the Facebook, and then try, before giving up on any of these, try tweaking your ad strategy. Try tweaking it. And that's why, again, you don't want to choose a farm area that's too large. Don't count on your first impression, your first mailer, your first showing of an ad on somebody to generate you income, because it's probably not. The statistics say it's 7 to 9 times before they even start to remember you, so it's maybe going to take 12 or 15 impressions before they're ready to do business with you, that they're going to be picking up the phone and contacting you. And they might not be ready to sell right now. So again, this is a long-term strategy. This isn't the way to get short-term results. Short-term results, the best way to do that is go out and prospect and pick up phones, to go knock on doors. That's the quickest, easiest way to get short-term results. The more expensive, more long-term solution to making sure you have a full pipeline is through farming and through marketing and making sure that the people that you're choosing that you want to do business with, that they know who it is that you are and also know that you're the expert in the area. And that could even be a billboard or a bus bench ad or any different type of ad medium. When they're in conjunction with each other, they're all going to support each other. If you just rely on billboards and you're only doing a billboard, yeah, a lot of people are going to see that billboard, but if you just see that billboard and you're just like, oh, look, there's that guy on the billboard or that girl on the billboard or that real estate team on the billboard, I see them all the time up there. But if that's all you see them with, they're just the billboard people. But when you see them on the billboard, when you see them in your mailbox, when you see them in your news feed, when you see them on random websites because of display advertising, you're like, wow, these people are everywhere. I want them for my house because they're going to put my house everywhere. So we'll talk about kind of how you're advertising this. Let's talk about that right now because that's relevant right now. So when you're doing these things, and now obviously you're not going to go to a seller typically and say, hey, look, one of the things you want to do to market your property is put it up on a billboard. That's usually not cost effective. But if you're in these mailings it is that you're doing. Maybe you're sending out a postcard, or this could also be a Facebook post or a display ad, or however it is that you're doing. You're taking that picture, especially if it is a very photogenic property, a property that is very appealing to the main type of people it is you're trying to work with. That could be your model for your advertising. You're taking that property and then you've got pictures of it showcased everywhere, and maybe you're going a step further and you're even doing a video of that property, or maybe doing a video walkthrough, so that way it's a win-win. You're showcasing the property and you're showcasing your professionalism. So you're able to do something like that, and now all of a sudden when they see all these ads everywhere, they're saying, oh man, when I sell my house, I want them because they're going to put my house everywhere. And yeah, it's good for the client because it gets tons of extra exposure to their house, but it's also good for you, really, for a couple different reasons. Number one, because you're marketing and advertising your business, you make sure that you've got your name, your logo in all these ads, even though it's mainly marketing that property for sale there. Number two, you look busy to everyone that's seeing it. You're showing them that you have inventory, that you have product to actually sell, that you're showing them that, hey, look, I've got this piece of real estate. I'm the person you want to talk to if you want real estate because I've got real estate for you. I'm representing sellers that have real estate that they want to sell. Contact me. That's what's going through their minds when they're seeing your ads when you're advertising a property, rather than just advertising, hey, look, I'm the best agent out there. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. Call me today. You do something like that, and it's coming across. Those work. You want to pepper those in there. But the majority of this, I would say probably 80% of this, you want to have, they call it content marketing. And content marketing is when you're having content, like videos, like pictures, like things that people want, and you're using that to market your business. And then it's also a win because you're exponentially increasing your odds that you're going to get both sides of the commission, that you're going to double in the sale. So rather than just getting $10,000, you're getting $20,000 because you're representing the buyer and the seller in the transaction. Rather than having another brokerage representing the buyer in the transaction, you're only there to represent the seller. So it's a huge benefit, not for only for you, but for your clients and your business. So win-win-win across the board with marketing the product, that housing it is that you have for sale, rather than just marketing your services. And then again, when people see that, they're like, oh wow, look, they get so much exposure to me. Sellers see that and they say, wow, look how much exposure this person will get my property if I list it with them. And they're thinking that before you even go out there and trying to and sell them on this. And really, when you're marketing and farming to this high degree, it's like where people already know what to expect when they're coming to you, and they don't need any convincing. They're ready to sign the paperwork. That's what an effective farming strategy will do. And this is the golden dream that everyone wants when they're in real estate. They want people lining up to work with them. And it doesn't happen easily. It happens over a long period of time with the investment of money, because farming, again, this takes money to be able to get those people to line up with you. Either you go to the clients, which costs your time, or the clients come to you, which costs your money to advertise and market to continuously get them to come to you. And again, that's what we're talking about today, of how to effectively farm so that way you've got these people lining up to do business with you. Again, it'll cost you money. It's going to take a long period of time with this, and that's why you have to be very intentional and have a lot of foresight with going into this farming strategy, and really, like I said, going in there and kind of just dipping your toes in and then slowly getting in deeper and deeper, because the further it is that you get from shore, the harder it is going to be to turn back. You can't turn back. So let's say you're swimming out to the ocean and your goal is to swim to the other side of the ocean. You get far enough out and it's a long way from shore. So, and that's what's happening, where you're racking up all these bills, you're expending all this money to market, and if you haven't found a life raft or something to help get you along the way, a dolphin to carry you across the water, then it's going to seem difficult. And that's what happens with farming. It takes a long period of time, but you stick with it, you're able to keep swimming, you're able to keep pulling, that you're able to keep pushing yourself in that direction, it's eventually going to get you results. Again, any farming strategy almost is going to get you results the longer it is that you go ahead. But the more smart and more intentional it is you're able to be about that, the quicker it is you're able to get some of those results. Now, let's move on to another mistake here. Another thing that I see a lot of agents make when they're implementing some sort of farming strategy is, we talked about not diversifying it, And then also the planning. I mean, that's mistake number 4 on here. I don't think I really need to touch on this too much more because I've been talking about this literally the whole time, that you want to have this planned out, that you want to have your plan of attack. Don't send out a letter now and then say, oh, what am I going to do next month? Or what am I going to do in the meantime? Am I just going to sit around and wait? No, figure out more ways it is that you can market. If you want to mix in some prospecting with this as well, definitely, like I said, you should plan for that, because in the meantime, when you're waiting for because again, farming is long term. You might get lucky and get something off of your first piece of marketing it is that you send out, whatever that marketing is, whether mail or digital or whatever that may be. You might get lucky. Lightning might strike there. But again, count on this being at least 6 months to a year before you're able to start seeing a deal come in. And once you get that one deal, that's going to cover all of your cost and then some. But again, try to be smart about this and reinvest that money so you could grow your farm area, you could increase your repetitions that you have to them, and ultimately really kind of ramp up your business with that. But like I said, you can mix prospecting with this too. If you want that neighborhood that you're farming, it's starting to get a little bit cooler out just by a couple degrees here in Florida. I think the high today is, let's see what the high today is. High today is 92, which is down from like the 98s and 99s we're having. So we're starting to get a little bit cooler. Today is the first day of fall. So what's that mean? It means we're getting into door knocking weather. Door knocking weather where you could go out knocking on doors saying, hey, I'm the real estate professional in the neighborhood. You thinking about selling? You obviously want to word this a little bit better than that. Have some sort of, but that's really what you're going out there for. That's kind of the underlying theme here. And really, this could just be something a lot less direct and pushy there, saying, hey, look, my name is John Carissimo. I'm the real estate expert in this area here, and I just wanted to drop by and put a face to the name that you've probably been seeing in the mailers and things like that, and just want to take a minute to kind of get to know you guys here, and how long have you lived here on the property? Just start asking them little questions like that. Don't have it so open-ended where it's like, hey, tell me about yourself. They're going to be like, oh, I got to go. I got stuff to do. If you say how long you've been living here, then they're going to have an answer to that. And you're slowly peeling back these layers to get them to open up to you. And once you get them to kind of open up to you, that's where you can kind of start talking to them. And you'll find the people that are going to be saying, hey, yeah, those people down the street, they're looking to sell. They really want to sell. So that when you go knocking on those doors, you could say, hey, do you know Sue from across the street? Yeah, Sue told me to come say hi to you guys. I was just in the neighborhood, and she said that you guys were looking at selling your property. You just met Sue 5 minutes ago, but they don't need to know that. They're just Sue. You become friends with Sue in those 5 minutes, and you'll meet those certain people that are like that are giving you the hot leads in the neighborhood. So, but that's prospecting, that's door knocking. There's other episodes we have on that. Today, let's get back to the farming. But like I said, that's a great thing to do in your farm area. Go out there and put a face with the name. So, moral of the story, make sure you're planning out all these things that you're going to do. And have some contingency plans. Okay, if we haven't had a deal by this point in time, then we got to ramp up. We got to do these things. We got to be able to do this. We have to go out there. Maybe we have to do prospecting after we get to a certain point. Or maybe we're doing prospecting up until we get to a certain point. So plan that out all ahead of time so that way you're able to go in here knowing what it is that you do. Because knowing what it is that you have to do and knowing what the results are going to be and knowing what that process looks like, the more it is that you know, the more likely you're going to succeed with your farming strategy. So try to plan that out as much as you can. Next mistake, not tracking your marketing. Now, when you're doing digital advertising, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or Google Ads or any type of digital marketing that's out there, they've all got great tools for being able to track not only how many people click on it, but you can even set it up if you've got some website with a landing page or something like that, that you could set it up where once people fill out a contact form, for instance, that it triggers what's called a conversion. And that's what you want to be trying to track. Digital advertising makes that really easy. Well, a little bit difficult to set up if you don't have much technical savvy to yourself, but you could find somebody that does have some technical savvy, pay them some money, and have them set that up for you. Another cost for that, or if maybe you could figure it out, but you really don't know what you're doing, still pay somebody so you could get on with doing stuff that's actually going to focus on making you money rather than saving you money. But you want to be able to track everything. Maybe you're sending out some sort of mail piece, and you're sending out the mail pieces of the particular property. So let's say you're sending out a mailer for 123 Main Street. So you get somebody that calls you right after that mailer went out. Or maybe you send out a couple mailers with a couple different properties. and that's how you're using to track the different areas. Or maybe it's just a certain property that you're marketing. Maybe that one property is more attractive than the other ones you're marketing, but you could ask the question, oh, what property are you calling about? Do you have that postcard in front of you? Do you have the address? And then now they're telling you, okay, this was the piece that triggered that phone call. That's what you want to be looking for, because when you could find those marketing pieces that trigger the phone calls, that trigger the emails, that trigger the text messages, that trigger whatever form of contact it is where they decide to contact you, yeah, your marketing efforts before that were probably help getting them to the point of contacting you, but that one pushed them over the edge. And what was so special about it? Maybe it was just at the right time. Maybe that's all it was. But chances are there's something in there, maybe a certain way you said something, a certain wording, a certain picture, something in there that you could get down and get into the data science of this to try to figure out, okay, this is what makes people want to call me and do business with me. So that's absolutely something you want to pay attention to, what wordings and what phrasings you're using. And like I said, with your digital advertising, it's really easy to test that stuff. It's really easy to pop in different ads and try different headlines, different text, different pictures, and see which ones are not only getting clicks, but also which ones are getting people to fill out contact forms or click on the phone call button on your website or wherever that may be. So make sure you're tracking your marketing. That's super important as well. I've got 2 more mistakes I want to go over with you guys here to make sure you have an effective farming strategy. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be back in less than 2 minutes. Stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrismo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have been for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Chrismo, and every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you really take your real estate business to the next level, and we do that by helping you get an understanding of this real estate business and also what mistakes not to make, and that's really what we're talking about today, what mistakes you don't want to make when you're farming. We've talked about a lot of great ones so far. If you guys are just tuning into this, make sure you go back to tampaschool.com/success. After the show, you'll be able to watch the whole episode in its entirety as well as previous episodes, so definitely check that out there. We've got 7 different farming mistakes we're talking about here. The first one we covered was choosing too large of a farm area, biting off more than you could chew, choosing to market to 10,000 homes and you could really afford to market to those 10,000 homes one time, and then after that one time expires, if you didn't get anything, if you didn't get any business out of that, you're done with farming. That's not how you want to go into this. You're going to make mistakes, number one, is the one key thing. Even if you had a likelihood that somebody was going to contact you off of 10,000 people, which there is a likelihood that somebody will, but it is small, so don't overestimate that. If you're marketing wrong or there's some error that you make in your advertising, in your ad copy, or whatever that may be, that's all down the drain. So it's really the repetition that's important here. And taking out aside any mistakes you might make on your part here, even if you send out the perfect marketing piece, there's still a high likelihood that you're not going to get any response off of that first marketing piece. You have to market to them multiple times to be able to see the return on investment it is that you're looking for. But you can't do that by choosing an extremely large farming area. You got to choose an area that you could dominate, that you could be the person that is the one person that people think of when they think of real estate in that area. That's the goal. That's what you're trying to achieve. And you can't do that by starting out with a farming area that's larger than you could take on. Eventually, you could get on and grow into your entire city as your farm area, and maybe you're marketing to millions of people, and you've got the budget to do that because you're getting hundreds of sales coming in every month. But until you get to that point, choose a small farm area to start out with and grow it as you can and scale it. So again, you continue to have those repetitions. Mistake number 2 we covered, picking the wrong farming area. You want to pick a neighborhood that's hot. And there's really no wrong farming area, but there's farming areas that are going to give you higher returns on investments and ones that are going to give you lower returns on investment. You want to look at a lot of different factors. The number one factor to look at is the percent of turnover. How many homes have sold in that neighborhood? But you also want to find if there's a lot of competition, if there's people dominating farming. So like I said, just checking those listings and seeing who it is that's listing it. If you're seeing that same name over and over, that person's probably doing a pretty good job already farming that area. So that's maybe not the best place to start out with. Maybe that's some place that you grow into as you become an expert in farming and you really know what you're doing and you know what works, and then you can kind of move into their territory and edge them out. But until you've got, ideally you want a high area with a high turnover that doesn't really have competition. That's going to be the easiest low-hanging fruit that you could pick to be able to likely end up getting deals. So those are 2 things. And a third thing you want to keep in mind too is the price on all this, because this goes to that planning step we're talking about. So you're planning how much money it is you're going to make in this. If you're marketing to a neighborhood of $50,000 homes, you've got to spend a lot less in the marketing compared to if you're marketing to $300,000 or $400,000 homes. So taking into account how much commission money could be generated from this and what that net commission is going to look like after your expenses that you'd have and how much money it is that you have, so that way you know, okay, that I'm planning to reinvest this amount of money. So that way you can really get an idea of what your return on investment is going to be if you spend that amount of money. And that goes into our mistake number 4, which we'll come back to 3 in just a second, of not planning your strategy. So again, making sure you've got a laid out plan of attack for the next 12 months that you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to reevaluate here, you're going to reevaluate here, you're going to reevaluate here, all this going on, and yeah, sticking to this for at least a year, marketing to those same people. The third mistake is not diversifying your strategy. Just sending out one type of marketing to this particular person or this particular home or whatever that may be. You're just sending out one type of marketing. You're just sending letters and you're not doing anything else. That's wrong. That's bad. You're not going to get your best return on your investment that way. Or maybe you're just doing Facebook ads and you're not doing anything else. That's wrong. You're not going to get your best return on investment. You'll have certain marketing pieces that'll work better, certain types of marketing. Maybe the Facebook ads work better than your mailers, or maybe mailers work better than the Facebook ads. And you want to adjust your ad spend accordingly so the most amount of money goes to what's most effective in generating you business. But you don't want to rely on just one method because maybe something happens where Facebook changes the way they advertise and all of a sudden you can't use that anymore. You're shut down if you're relying on Facebook to how it is that you're advertising with that. So definitely keep that in mind. And how you figure out what works so you can allocate the money to the appropriate places, you want to track your marketing. Keep metrics on all of these here. Okay, you have this many pieces go out. You have this many people it is that you're making impressions on, that you're touching. Now, what does that return look like? How many conversions are you getting? How many phone calls are you getting? How many text, emails, whatever it is that you're expecting to get out of this here, whatever contacts it are, you're tracking all of these so you know, okay, this letter got this much percent. The letter I sent the month before got that much percent. Why did that letter do better than this letter? Now you look at maybe the wording, you look at the certain words you used, the pictures you used, whatever it is that made that one better than the one it is you're sending out now. Mistake number 6. Because we've got 2 more I want to cover before the end of the show here. Changing your farm area. This is a huge mistake that I see, and really we should have probably even talked about this closer up because I think this one is a little bit more prevalent with people going into farming. Is they'll try something and they might even give it the benefit of the doubt and try it for a few months. They might try it the first time and say, oh, we didn't get anything. Okay, well, let's do it again. I know you gotta do multiple times. They might go out there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of sending out mailers. Well, they're breaking the other rules of not diversifying their strategy and that stuff as well. But if they say, oh, 6 months have gone by, we haven't got anything, should we keep throwing money at this? It's obviously not working. And then they shut it down, and maybe they're just changing to another farm area. Maybe they're just going from, okay, let's not marketing this neighborhood anymore. Let's go market to this. What you're doing there So again, we'll use that farmer analogy. You're the farmer. You've been trying to cultivate these crops for the last 6 months and you haven't even got a sprout yet. Or maybe you did get a sprout. The sprouts are going to be like the people calling you, but it didn't turn into some sort of plant that you're trying to grow. So you got the sprout, but you didn't get a plant. So you're like, oh man, well this soil is bad. This is obviously bad soil. And you walk away from that soil to go to new soil to find greener pastures where you could start farming all over again, where you're planting brand new seeds for only another farmer, another realtor, another real estate professional to come along and say, oh, look at all these plants that somebody left here, because a couple months later, those plants start to grow. So that's why they use this term farming, because you're cultivating the people in that neighborhood, and you do not want to give up on them. By changing your farm area, unless you're moving out of the area and you don't want to do business in that area, then that's the only reason you should ever change your farm area. Once you pick an area, and that's why it's so important to pick the right farm area, to find one that's got good turnover and got all these other things lined up in there, so that way that becomes your area, because you're only going to grow from that in the future of marketing additional areas. But you should never give up on that area, because the longer it is that you're willing to commit to that neighborhood, the more time and investment it is you're able to put in there, you're throwing that all down the drain if you go and change your farm area to somewhere else, and now you're starting out with a brand new farm. This is brand new people that have probably never heard of you before versus the people over there that heard of you 5 or 6 times before. So don't change your farm area. That's very important. And a last mistake. This one kind of goes without saying. It's another underlying theme I've been mentioning since the beginning of the show. It's not giving up. Do not give up on the farming. And like I said, account for at least 12 months of doing this farming. And again, almost any farming strategy will work eventually, just like almost any home will sell at the right price. It's a matter of lowering the price for selling any home. It's a matter of waiting it out long enough for certain farming strategies. Even if you're marketing only once every 6 months, it might take you 10 years, but you'll probably eventually have some sort of return. You'll get something, which if you're only doing once every 6 months, you probably still end up paying for that after 10 years of doing that, because really that's only 20 different. Don't give up on your marketing strategy, on your farming strategy. Stay on top of it. Don't give up on your farm strategy. So that's really the one key thing it is I want to leave you guys with today. Again, to sum up those steps, don't choose a farm area that's too large. Don't choose a farm area where people aren't selling or where there's extensive competition, especially when there's greener pastures available. Don't not diversify your strategy. Have a very diversified strategy. Have different ways it is that you're trying to contact people, because some types of marketing are going to work better for certain types of people, but other types of marketing will work better for other people. And you don't know until you know, so you got to use them all until you find out what works. But now you want to track what it is that you're doing. You track what does work, so you could effectively allocate the money to the right places. And you can see this is all complex, so you also want to make sure that you plan this out ahead of time. Finally, the last two again, don't change your farm area and don't just give up on your farm area. Stick with it, continue to market to it, but that's why this is all predicated on that beginning part there where you're choosing the right farm area. You're not going too big, and you're choosing an area that does have turnover, that doesn't have competition. So you got the low-hanging fruit. That's what you want to go with. And then again, just tweak your farming strategy, tweak the marketing it is that you're doing, so you could ultimately get the results it is that you want and continue to grow your farm area larger. So those mistakes, again, that was an article that I wrote, and this must have been, let's see when this was dated. That was back from December of 2016. So that article is almost a year old. This stuff doesn't change. Farming's been used since like the beginning of real estate, and it works. It's the way we farm is definitely dramatically different. There's a lot of different ways to farm now, a lot more ways where you could farm in the real estate industry, but overall the strategy of, okay, you're building repetition so they know that you're the expert in the area. That's the key fundamental principle of farming, that you want people to know that you're the expert and you're the person they need to turn to if they want to buy or sell a home. When you've got that message, that's the goal. That's your mission of farming. You want to be the expert, that there's not a doubt in anyone's mind that they want to use you to either buy or sell their home or whatever real estate service it is that you're marketing to them. Once you've achieved that goal, you still got to maintain it. So don't ever give up on your farm area, even if you've gotten to that point of saturation where people know you're the best option in there, where it really seems like you're the only option because you're just so much better than all the other options out there. So that's really the goal you're trying to achieve with farming. Make sure you don't make those mistakes along the way. If you missed any of this stuff, if you tuned in late to that, that's okay. We've got the recording for you on our Success Center. Go to tampaschool.com/success. That's tampaschool.com/success. You can watch this episode as well as our previous episodes. You can see that farming article that's in there. Just go in the search bar and type in farming, and you'll find all kinds of great helpful tips about farming. If you guys are interested in starting, or maybe you've got post-licensing or continuing education due at the end of this month, we've got September 30th. Our next renewal deadline is like a week away from us, if even about a week we've got before that date hits there. We've got some great online courses that you should be able to get knocked out in that time if you still haven't done your post-licensing or continuing education yet. Make sure you check out our website, tampaschool.com, or give us a call at 813-928-0106, where we can help give you any information it is that you need, any questions you have, any way we can help you. Give us a call. Let us help you. We want to help you start your real estate career. We want to help you meet all your continuing education requirements, and we want to help you be successful in the real estate industry. Make sure you guys tune in next week at Friday, 12 noon Eastern time on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, we've got over 100,000 views on our channel there, so we must have something worth watching there. There's a lot of valuable nuggets of information you could pick up in that, so make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Just search for Tampa School of Real Estate, and you'll see us everywhere. You can see we're implementing farming strategies of marketing, of where we put out this content just like you as an agent could go out there and market homes, and people see, oh, look, I want that home. I want to contact this realtor that's marketing that home, or I want to sell my home. I want that realtor that does this much exposure for their home. So a lot of useful information today. Farming and marketing in general is something that I'm very passionate about, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got something to take away from today's episode. Again, remember, tune in next Friday, 12 noon Eastern time, as well as Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time, where we have Ask the Instructor. You've got questions about the real estate industry, you can send them in to us, and we'll answer them live on the air, and that's Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern time. But other than that, that's all I've got for you guys this week. I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend. Get out there. Go crush it. Go do some farming. Go do some prospecting, do something to make some money, and I'll see you next week. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Charisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have done for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching